Hey guys, hope you're having a great day today. It is Monday. Happy Monday morning to you. I hope that your morning is going well. My morning is going fantastic. Can you see the sun there? It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day here in sunny Florida. It's going to be rainy Florida in a few days. We've got that hurricane coming in, so it'll be our first hurricane here in Florida. But for us, I know a lot of you sent lots of prayers and telling us to stay safe, all those things. I appreciate all those. We should be all good. Our area is not affected specifically at all. We are completely out of it. We will definitely get rain from it. I know the other areas are definitely more of a direct hit, so we should be good from everything. But I'll be filming every single day as much as I can. We've got a generator. I've got backup, so I should be able to continue filming. And we've got our water, and we've got our food, and we've got, we've got lots of means to be able to be safe and everything. So I'm going to just continue filming for the week, and we'll see how the week goes. But today, it's a sunny day. This weekend, we had a great weekend. It was a good, relaxing weekend. We had things to do, busy, with kids and life, but it was like I got to come sit outside and swim in my pool every day, Saturday and Sunday, and that was really nice. During the week, it gets busy. I've been coming out in the mornings and swimming, and usually swimming at night, but not during the day, because during the day it's school time and everything else. And so there's not a lot of time just to sit directly out and just enjoy that sunshine. But this weekend was my weekend to do it, so I enjoyed it. I was so glad not to have to cook or make any food. I just pulled our food out of the refrigerator that I'd made, and then as kids wanted food, we heated up and we ate it. A lot of it I put in crock pots and just heated it up, so like for after church, and that worked out so great. So we enjoyed it very much. Our favorite was the steak with the pierogies and the green peppers. That was really good. The chicken, the Hawaiian chicken, it was okay. Didn't know if we loved it. Probably, I don't know if I just don't love chicken anymore or what, but it was okay. I mean, they ate it, but it wasn't like ultimate favorite. Again, just like one of those things, you live and learn, you make things, you see how it goes. But we had a lot of pizzas left over, and then by the end of last night, I went in there and I'm like, oh, we ate up all of our food. That's a good thing. So that means I'm going to need to make food today. So we're going to have a good day. There's a bird out here. So what I thought for today's video, a lot of you have been asking, what are we doing for homeschooling? So what I'm going to do in the beginning, first part of this video, I'm going to speak on homeschooling and give you guys things that we have learned over the years in hopes to help someone else. But if you just want to continue with our day and what we're doing, I'll put a timestamp right over here, and you can like fast forward to it, because I know not all of you have school kids that you're homeschooling, or some of you don't have any kids at all. So to avoid you just watching me talk through all this, and be a lot of talking, you can just fast forward to this number, and I'll just film the rest of our day and whatever we're doing, because I don't know what the day is going to bring. I have school today, we have food, we have cleanup, all those good things. So let's talk homeschooling. I have been a homeschool mama for all of my married life. We started out, my daughter was in school for about 2 years, and then just based on Greg's work schedule, he was working nights, and so we decided to homeschool. I had one friend that pulled her child out of school and was homeschooling. This was way back in the day, and it was like a foreign thing. And so then we started homeschooling out of convenience. And I remember her telling me, the first thing she told me, she's like, just learn to be home with them. And I'm like, what? She's like, don't do anything with them, but just learn to be home and play and have fun. And like in my head, I couldn't wrap myself around that. I kept thinking, no, we've got to do pages. We got to sit and do schoolwork all day long. So she appears to have schooling like everybody else. And so I did a lot of that. We had a lot of stress. We had a lot of crying. We had a lot of going through frustration. And then I went, you know what? Let's take that advice. And so I did. And guess what? We learned to just be at home and enjoy that time. And then the learning came naturally. Now, every one of my kids, we've done different, because we've been in different seasons of life. But the whole basis of homeschooling that we do, some people do so many different kinds. There are so many kinds out there. I immersed myself, tried to learn a whole lot. I really liked the teachings of Charlotte Mason. I got her books and read them, and she was more of a kid learning thing, and nature, things like that, and like learning just naturally and like through things. And I'm like, okay, and that led me onto a path of unschooling. And there were these people, this is when the internet was not that big, these were people that basically just let their kids play and like live life. I mean, they weren't sitting in front of a video game all day long. They were just naturally living life and doing things. And I thought, can you really do that? What if you don't sit down and teach your kid phonics? What if you don't sit down and your child isn't reading at 9 years old, 8 years old, because they were struggling with things? What if they don't know other math facts? And I went through and struggled with that over the years, and I thought, you know what I've learned now, looking back, it's like, yeah, the stress of trying to do the school, to making them learn those things, it wasn't worth it. It was not worth it, because you know what? They didn't really apply themselves. I think of some of them that it was like, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do it. And we did it and did it. they weren't retaining any of it. They were just getting enough to get by, just like you and I did in school. Like, do you remember cramming for tests? What did you do? You memorized the information. Can you remember anything from it now? No. Do you remember the ones that you enjoyed, the classes you enjoyed? Yes, you probably do enjoy those. But the ones you hated, you don't remember any of it. Same thing with my kids in school. And so I had to look back at some of them that needed certain things that we learn in school later on in life. They actually, instead of taking an entire year of schooling and book work to force them to do these things, when they were older and an adult and they had to learn that specific type of math, that they're the only one that use it, nobody else uses it, they had to learn it in 6 weeks. And you know what? They crammed, they studied, and they learned. And that worked out so much better than trying to cram it all into a whole year's worth of schooling. So there's like a whole world of unschoolers out there. And I understand there is a complete, you have your far right and your far left. You have ones that are completely doing nothing and just whatever and free living in life, and that's fine. And your kids, and sometimes they don't do anything with their kids at all. So I get that. And then you got to find your middle ground for things. You have ones that just go overboard. They do tons of things. They have their kids in all these activities. You're doing so much, and it's so overwhelming. It's like finding that middle ground of peace in your home is the most important thing. So you've got to find what works for your family. I'm just sharing with you what works in our family. We have had so many babies over the years. I remember I've purchased and bought many curriculums over the years. We did a lot of workbooks. I don't even know what the kind they were. And just different seasons in life, we spent a lot of money, a lot of wasted. What I found is I'd go through them, and they're like, do we have to do all these math problems? Like we would do, I'm going to say Saxon math was one, or we did Rod and Staff for a while too. They were very basic. We did it. And then by the time you get through 100 math problems of the same thing, I'm like, they had to copy them and write them. I'm like, after like 10, 15, I'm like, you get it? Yeah, I get it. Okay, skip that, turn the page. And there was a lot of wasted schoolwork that we did not do. So for myself, for purchasing all that, I was like, wow, we don't even do all of that. And it's like, why are we spending the money? We get the workbooks. And the kids I'd be like, well, you're not really gonna have to know that. You don't even need to know that for your test. You don't have to know that for life. So let's skip it. So we'd skip a lot of things. And I thought, why are we doing these things? And so that just led me more onto the whole unschooling world. And so every time I'd go, like where we'd move to, like especially in the mountains, I'd talk to my friends and stuff. And I had friends that did curriculums, and they bought certain things, and they would sit all day long, and they went to classes, they did all those things. Nothing wrong with that at all. But I had ones that were just very relaxed and just like learned to just like enjoy being with their kids, and they just did a few basic things. And I'm like, but they were pocketed individuals, and not many people talked on that stuff. So now moving to Florida, I found this huge unschooler group, like huge, where there's like everybody does, not everybody, a lot of people do. And I'm like, okay, there's a whole world. So I think it's getting more, I guess, freer thinking. I'm not, I think it's important to have government. I think it's important to have order in society, all those things. I get this. But I think that our world, and I think most of you can agree, especially with media and the things that we are fed to believe and fed to listen to, thank goodness for extra journalists out there, the independent journalists that speak on truth. Thank goodness. I remember back in the day watching, we would, you learn school and you learn history, and you would just learn your textbook. Whatever the government put out, that is the textbook you taught. You didn't hear the other side of the stories at all. So I was so thankful when documentaries came out and we started watching more. We'd go to the library and get a ton of documentaries and just watch some. And I'm like, wow, you don't hear all these stories of it, and you don't hear all these things, and just different topics that you just are fed to believe. And if you just listen to that, you're not going to know there's a whole other side, because there are people that are controlling that. There are people that are just pushing their agenda on things, and we know that. I think that everyone can agree, and I think especially after this last year in our world, that you're being fed an agenda and certain things. And so thank goodness for people that speak up about teaching different truths to your children, so that they can be free thinkers. They can look at things analytically and objectively, and not just, cower under following the crowd. It's like they can stand up for truth, they can stand up for justice, and they can stand up against right and wrong. And so those are the kind of kids that I want to raise, because I want them to be free thinkers. I don't want them to be fed the masses. So for unschooling, so what we do is we teach the basics. I teach the basics to my kids. We're going to teach you those 3 things: reading, writing, and arithmetic. The 3 R's, like back in the day that they taught you in your schoolhouse. And guess what? Then let's study more of what you're interested in, because that's where you're going to get that in your brain. That's where you're going to, retain it, and you're actually going to use it in your life. And so for all my kids, If they're, some years and sometimes it works where life is busy and we don't learn a lot, or that child is really struggling that year and not reading very well. Like I've had some that just had a harder time learning to read. And you know what? Instead of forcing it and saying, you gotta do it, you have to, you're older, you have to do it, people looking down saying, they should know how to do these readings. And you're like, you know what? Give them time. Give their bodies and their brains time to mature. And they will naturally do that. They might have a few things where some people label them with certain learning disabilities, and then they say, okay, you have this, so let's do it this way. Force them to learn this way and do it. It's gonna be miserable for the kid, or guess what? Just let them naturally learn. Like give them time, give their brains time to think. Keep encouraging your child, keep reassuring them that it's okay if you don't know all this. It's okay if you can't read like other people your age. You will, and don't worry, you will do that eventually, and you'll read just fine. And I've learned that they do. They really, really do. My kids, the youngest is 11, and I found that, you know what, the ones that struggled with reading, the ones that struggled with things, that if for some I forced and stressed and said you had to learn, and that was a mistake. I feel like that just turned them off on certain things. And so then I learned, you know what? Let them naturally learn. Let's see. Let's test this theory and see if it works. And you know what? It does. It really, really does. I read it in many forums. I read it in many books and different things, and I thought, it actually does work. If you're encouraging them, if you have a child that's really struggling, I had one that struggled with reading, and I said, you know what? Okay, let's work for 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes every day, let's sit down and read something. So we would go through simple basic things, and it was just 10 minutes. It wasn't to stress. It wasn't, like a forced thing. They didn't want to, we didn't. And then you know what? That child is learning to read just fine now. But back in the day, and then people would look and say, well, they need to learn how to read, and you're not doing that. Well, you know what? Give them time. Give them time to learn. And you know what? They have, and they do. And it's one of those things that you can't tell anybody. It's pointless to argue with people about homeschooling. Do not argue with your family. Don't argue with teachers. Don't argue with anybody that's going to come against your practices. They have all their reasons. I love teachers. I have people that are teachers in my life, and I think that's beautiful. So a good thing, the place for everybody, public school teachers as well, because we need you in the ones that love to teach, that love to be in there, to be there for those kids, because not everybody can homeschool. So no knocking any person like that at all. We all have a plan and purpose in this life to do what we're supposed to do, and it's beautiful. I'm just speaking on what we're doing for our family, what works for us. Everybody has to pick your own thing in life. You get that choice. That's the beautiful thing of them. So not to argue, not to do those things. So don't get in debates about people about homeschooling, because it is pointless. It is pointless. Everybody is so geared to okay, they know their way is right. They know their way is right. So they're going to just argue. Don't argue. Just share. That's why I'm sharing. I'm not arguing. I'm sharing my points of where, how it works and how it has worked over the years. So how we started out, it's like, I'm going to give some recommendations. I don't have a lot of these resources anymore because I've done so many different things. We went from having 6 bookshelves in our living room full of books and materials over the years, and then we moved, so I had to downsize a whole lot and just use stuff in the library. And so now I realize, okay, it really doesn't matter how much stuff you have. You can do it with very basic. And I know this because there's people that homeschool in other countries and missionaries that teach kids, and they learn just fine. So my suggestion is, when they're younger, it's like, there is a great book, and it's very, very, very cheap. And so these, I'll put a picture right here. Okay, so the book, I wanted to look it up to make sure I got the right one. So it used to be called An Easy Start in Arithmetic, Strong Start in Language, and there was another one, A Home Start in Reading. Now these were, they're small little books, but they do have a book right now. It's called The 3 R's. It's $12 on Amazon. Your library should have it. My libraries in North Carolina had it. I haven't looked here because I don't need those grades. That's teaching your child from kindergarten through 3rd grade. Get those books and read through them. You will get a whole different mindset on how to teach your children. And it's very basic, and you're gonna go, really? Do I have to stay that basic? Yeah, you can stay that basic, and your kids will be just fine. Do you know, this is gonna knock a lot of people off, and people aren't gonna like this. Do you know that if you did nothing with your child, nothing, I'm talking 0 pages, 0 workbooks, you didn't make them sit down and do anything, yeah, and when you got to 5th grade, or the grade they're supposed to be in 5th grade, and you taught them everything they need to know, do you know that grade, you can learn everything from kindergarten through 5th grade in that grade in 1 year? Yeah, I know, you can. You really, really can. There is kids, their brains are more developed at that time. So even if you never sat, your child is not going to become like totally dumb sitting there doing nothing. You're speaking to them, you're communicating with them, you're doing things in the kitchen with them, you're having them learn order, you're having them learn to analytically figure things out just because you daily live through things. So if you just didn't do anything and then in one grade, I'm just choosing 5th grade, you can choose any grade, you can start in middle school and taught them, there is like a huge review on all of that. I remember going to college, and my first year in college, I had my class I took, they gave me a business class, and I had taken business classes in high school. Well, guess what? That first year in college, you know what that first book was about? It was everything I had learned in all of my business classes in high school condensed into 1 year. It's just shorter lessons, but it's the same thing. Same thing when you get to middle school, same thing when you get to high school. It is a review. Think of your high school history and what they teach in public school. You have a class on American history, you know what? It's everything you've learned from elementary up until then, just shorter teachings on it. But it's the same thing. It's the same thing with all of your math as well. You get a basic class in high school, it's everything up until then, just in a basic form. Your kids will naturally learn how to do things. I know people aren't going to like that, but that is the truth. And it's truth for those of you that have done unschooling, that have taught that way, you know it works. It's just a different way to look at things. And so there's lots of testimonies online. Type in unschooler success. You will see so many people that function as normal human beings on this earth learning that way. So get her books. That will help change your mindset on a lot of things. And trust it and go, yeah, you're going to have to get out of that realm of thinking. I think I even looked at a lot of the unschooler things for here, and there's people that are starting to look at it because they're trying to get away from the government's control and teaching their children anyways. And so the first step under the unschooling thing is de-school your kids. And I said, how awesome that they say that, because you have to de-school your kids, you have to de-school yourself. You have to get out of that mindset that this is the way. We have to sit at a desk all day long. That we have to sit at a desk and do school like everybody else does at public school. You have to answer all these questions. You have to do these workbooks. You have to do these textbooks, or you're going to fail. And it's like, no, that's not it. That's not how the way it is. There's a whole other realm to it. So I love that there is much more knowledge on this and much more teaching. Just like I love that there's independent news people out there that speak on truths versus the stuff you're fed. So researching is a good thing. So Ruth Beechek, she has some great things. And then she also has a book for your older grades. It says you can teach your child successfully grades 4th through 8. So see how she does a whole grade? So up K through 3rd is going to be basics. When you read that book, it's going to be things that you already do. It's going to be everything you do in normal everyday life without even thinking. That's the beauty of it. Then when you get to 4 through 8, you're going to read and go, oh, look at how I can teach this. Oh, look at how I can do that. A whole beautiful way of doing that. And then when they get to high school, real life math. Make sure they know their English and how to speak properly and type up sentences and speak and use words, all those things. It's a beautiful thing when you can get your mind wrapped around a different way than what we're taught. So those were 2 books that helped teach me like a lot about other things. And then another book I recommend is Charlotte Mason Companion. It was by Karen Andriola is her name. You can get that at your library as well too. That was a book that helped more of a gentler side of teaching. Now Charlotte Mason, there's books you can get, I don't even know if they have them, the original books of Charlotte Mason. They're these thick books and some deep heavy reading, just like psychology based and getting into the depths of letting your child learn naturally through different learning things. And it's a lot of reading. Karen Andriola did like a condensed version of those books, and it's much shorter and it's much more practical on things to teach your kids. So I read a lot of that. And do we keep all of it? No, she does a lot of like nature journals and different things. There's so many different things you can do. You just got to find what works for your family. So if you read those books, your mindset's going to change into how to teach your children. You're going to go, wow, let me look at other ways to teach my children. And then you know what I suggest you do? Find some field trips. Go find some free things to do in your town, in your area. Go learn together doing different things. Forget the pages. The pages will come. Don't worry about that. You can sit and do school later on. But if you're first starting, just enjoy being with your kids. Get outside and play with them. Take them to the park and pack a lunch and go to the park and enjoy just playing. Let them play with other kids. Let them socialize and have a fun time. Go explore. Go take a walk, a hike somewhere. Go look in find some nature study thing that they have around you. I'm sure every place most likely has something kind of history. Go learn something. teach your kids some things. And then you know what? Like, I know for us ourselves, like, we're going to do it this week, but it depends if there's a hurricane coming, so I'm not sure what we're going to do. I want to learn a lot about Florida because new place. We moved to the mountains. We went everywhere. We explored so many different regions. We learned so much about different things that like a lot of locals didn't know because we wanted to like learn so much. So here in Florida, we're trying to do the same thing, just learning and embracing, and there's so much to do. So one topic we're going to learn that I've seen people go shark tooth hunting because we like going to the beach and looking through the shore, and I'm like, oh, you actually go shark tooth hunting. So that got us on a whole study of sharks. So I Googled, if you ever need something and you want it free, because a lot of things you have to pay for, type in shark unit study PDF free. Google will come up with some, and you can find some that you can download, or that'll help you find some little studies on it. And you don't have to use it. This study I got, I think, is like 200 pages. I'm not going to print off those 200 pages, but I'm going to reference that. When I'm looking at it, I'm going to go, okay, let's learn about the sharks and certain kinds in Florida. Let's learn what they do, and we're going to talk about them. We're going to do them, and you know what we're going to do? We're going to have a shark-themed party, and we're going to have shark-themed food, and then we're going to go shark tooth hunting, and we're going to learn about it, and we're going to try to find things and help the kids get some hands-on things and learn all about those things. Things you can do. Those are good ways. Reading books. So important to read some books with your kids. If you can't because you don't have time, there has been years where I didn't. Years. I'm going to admit that. Years where I never sat down and read books to them. I did, because life got way too busy. You know what's good? Audiobooks. Audiobooks are a great thing. Put it on. Let it play in the background. Your kids will listen. They may not listen to everything perfectly. Sit around the table, play Play-Doh, do some kind of hands-on activity. Let them listen to some audiobooks. We did that for a long time. So I know some people like to, and then talk about it. Just talk about what you read, what they read. Sometimes when I give books to my kids to read, you wonder, are they understanding, are they reading, understanding and comprehending what they're reading? So a lot of these books will teach you, have your kids narrate back what they've learned. So then I would have my kids read a chapter and then come back, tell me what you learned in your book. And if they were real vague and not real sure of those things back in the day, because I didn't know, I Googled like whatever, let's say one of the books, like Sarah Plain and Tall, that's a book. Sarah Plain and Tall, reading comprehension, PDF page. Type it in. You'll find someone that did a little reading comprehension where there's questions and spaces for answers. Get those, look at them. And then there's questions after each chapter you can ask your child. Don't make them fill out the paper. That's a waste. If you want to, go ahead. If you want to write a book report, go ahead. Have your kids learn to speak to you, to narrate to you, to help them learn to explain things to you. And sometimes they might get a little confused, but if you talk to them and let them speak, they'll understand and get that rational thinking and learn how to put that thought together to explain the story in a good way. And that will take practice. And in time, they'll become really good at it. I promise. If you want them to write it, let them write it. I had some that wanted to write to me what they learned, and that's the way they love to communicate. They're a really good speaker too. But whatever works, and then just ask those questions. You'll get the answers. Because if you don't know the story, I know for mine, some of them read, and I'm like, I don't know that book, so I would Google that, and I'd get that, and then I'd ask them the questions, and they learn them, and then it can kind of go, oh, I don't know about that. Well, let's look and see more about that. So those are other ways you can find different without having to read the book, because sometimes you can't read the books your kids read, but that's a good way to get some information about those, because I have a bunch of kids and there's no way I can read all the books they're reading. So if I Google some pages, reading comprehension pages.pdf, and then I can find out to ask them some questions. If you need to in your family, if you don't have to, you don't have to. Whatever works for you. Books that we read, so many books. How do you find good books for your kids? A lot of books. I've found over the years, sometimes my kids just don't like reading the traditional books that they tell you your child should read. It's not as exciting. It's kind of boring. Understandable. So instead of forcing them to read something they don't like, I let them pick out what they want to read. Sometimes I go, gosh, they're not really reading anything of literary value, but they're still reading a book. Okay, and then you know what? I realize the next year they're listening to the story and liking it. So you just do whatever they can do. If they can just read certain science fiction books and that's all they're reading, you're like, don't worry about forcing them to read, certain ones, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Let them read whatever ones they like. And then you know what? That'll naturally come in time for your kids. I know for us, it's like we've enjoyed our read aloud time, and we've been sitting and listening, and the kids enjoy it. And it's like after each one we talk, we're like, what do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to go? It just helps that going. So read aloud time is a big thing. We did it way back in the day for a long time. Then I had a lot of babies. I would fall asleep during read aloud time. Yeah. And then I stopped doing it for some time. And I'm like, the last couple of years, I'm like, I need to get back to our read aloud time again. And I have been. And that's been a beautiful thing to be able to expand and read on a lot of books. So just get a variety. When I search out books for us, For like our read aloud time, where do you start? Type in Charlotte Mason books. And the reason why, and it's not her books, but the books are written from a perspective of how that person has gone through that experience. So like they're called living books. I was just thinking, what's the name? It's living books. Type in living books, living fiction books. So I'm sure there's tons of websites. I know there's tons of websites that gives you ideas, and they'll be on different time periods. I know for us, we wanted to learn about different time periods. So if you were to learn about, we were just doing the Holocaust because we went to that museum and learned things on. So if you type in Holocaust living books, they're going to have some books that are written and they're based on the viewpoint of that person going through that time. So you can get more into, versus like a textbook that has dates, because nobody likes dates and time. Some people do, but they're not going to retain as much as they are as when they can put themselves in that person's position and feel and listen to what they went through. So go for that when you're looking for books to read with your kids, or even books for your kids to read. I know I did that. I got a bunch from our library and put them on the shelf, and I said, okay, then you read this way. So then they can get into, they can almost feel that person, the author that's writing it, the person they're writing from the point of view, and go, wow, that's what it would be like for them, or, you know, that's how it would feel for them. They're going to retain that time period so much better than if I just laid out a bunch of facts. So we went and saw the art thing. He talked, we heard a man and his point of view and the time it was. We're also reading a book about that time right now. Much better than getting a book with a bunch of facts that they have to know. There's nothing wrong with facts. There's nothing wrong with learning things, but that's not what they're going to retain. They're going to remember that story and their viewpoint and what they went through and what that picture meant. And so living textbook or living books, that's what you want to do when you're looking for reading books. So we're going to go inside and I'll show you some of the stuff that we have used, that we are using right now, and I have other videos of things that we've done over the years. And so what I did is I have my own curriculum, not a paid thing. It's, you can buy it if you want, but it's free. So I'm not pushing my paid thing, I'm pushing my free thing for you. So what I did is I started, we'd bought curriculum, I would buy books, all these things, then we wouldn't use half the problems. And then this is when, I think it was in 2008, is when the economy crashed and Greg had lost his job. We didn't have money for schooling supplies, and I found stuff online for free to use, just a bunch of worksheets. So we used worksheets like crazy. I printed off, there was a ton online, a ton. So I did that for that year. It was cheap to print things. Back then I had an old printer, and I'm like, gosh, I miss that old printer. I used one little thing of ink on it. It was like this old school printer. I bought it on like an ink surplus website for like $1.50. I could print up 3 containers of paper, like 1,500 pieces of paper with that one little thing. You know what I can do now? None. Like I literally can do 20 pages and my ink cartridge is dead. So they make it so it's so impossible now. But anyways, that's another story. So what I did is I started writing my own curriculum. It covers the basics. That's it. It goes through and teaches what you should teach your kid each year. And if you don't and you just want to catch up on one grade, you can. That's the beauty of it. It just does the basic. It does reading. Well, reading, you do that on your own. There's some reading comprehension. It's writing. It has writing in there. It has math. It has English. And there is spelling there too for people that like spelling list, whatever you do. I had right-handers and left-handers, so I have both of them on there. So what I did is I did very basics. This is the minimum. It doesn't go in depth on tons of things. If your child struggles with something, you go and teach them some more. So I focused on that. I told my kids, I'm like, you've got to learn for math. You've got to learn how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. You got to learn your fractions. You got to learn your decimals. You got to learn percentages. You got to learn these things. These are the things you have to know for life. Do you have to memorize all the area, like geometry things? No, because you have a phone on your hand all the time. You can just type those in. Once in a while, if I have to find an area of something, which area you should know, it's pretty basic. But if I have a triangle or a trapezoid shape of something, I don't have to memorize the formula. No, I just type it in the calculator on the phone. We do it, we show them how to do it, and it's beautiful. So this school is very basic, but it will get you on a right path. Like if you feel you need to do some pages, we do pages, so I feel like I need to do some pages, and then we learn and go from there, like based on what they want to study. So that is offered, I have free, I have it linked below always. You can go to my website. You don't have to sign up for anything. There's no ads over there. YouTube has ads. My blog has no ads at all. So go over there. You don't have to sign up. You can just go to my homeschooling page. You can pick out anything you want and you can download it for free. Everything on there is free. Everything is free. And then for myself, we could print that all off really, really inexpensively because it was the $1.50 container. Nowadays, the ink cartridges are ridiculous. I just watched a YouTube video where a guy took apart the ink cartridge and it showed like a little flap of foam and a couple drops of ink on it. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And so, yeah, just the scammers where they don't even fill them up anymore. You can't even use the refillable cartridges anymore, which is so sad. So, I don't know, live and learn, whatever. So what I did is I offered it in book form on Amazon for people that it's cheaper to buy it on Amazon than to print it off. So I know for myself, I started printing my own off for my kids this year because I'm like, I'll just print off the pages. Well, then we got a new printer. That printer, it did not last for pages for the ink card. I already bought my second ink cartridge, and I'm like, I've only printed off a month of school. So I actually went on and bought my books too because it's cheaper for me to buy. I think an ink cartridge is, I think my ink cartridge is like $26. The books are, I think they're $25 on Amazon. So it's cheaper for me to buy the book for the entire year than it is for me just to get the ink cartridge. So that's what I did. Right now I'll go in and show you the ones I printed off, but I did end up buying it because it was cheaper. And there was a couple other books I bought, but again, I rebought more of them because I was just going to copy and print them, and then it would just cost me more to print it. So whatever you want to do, but they're all there. You can get them for cheap. It just works for you. So let's go in and I'll go show you what we are doing this year. Inside, so something I thought about, one thing that I love, I like seeing it, sometimes people will post this. This is how many minutes a day you should be doing school, because you think you should sit there for 5 to 6 hours a day. Now everybody's got an opinion. I understand this. This is one that we find because we use their videos for homeschool, and so they talk about if you're in pre-K, you should do a minimum of 20 minutes a day of teaching and a maximum of 60 minutes a day. That's a good thing. It says recommended length of sustained attention is 3 to 5 minutes. And we know that. Kindergarten, 30 minutes a day. Minimum. Maximum of 90 minutes a day. First and second grade, 45 minutes a day. Maximum of 90 minutes a day. Third through fifth grade, 60 minutes a day. Maximum of 120 minutes per day. Sixth through eighth, which would be your middle school, 15 minutes a day of you teaching, 90 minutes a day total. That's the minimum. Max is 30 minutes, total is 180 minutes a day. High school, minimum class is 20 minutes per day, total of 2 hours, 120 minutes per day. Max of 45 minutes and max of total 270 minutes. So very little. So if you're doing elementary, think an hour a day. That's it. If you're thinking middle school, like an hour and a half a day. That's minimum. High school, 2 hours a day minimum. I tell my kids that sometimes the ones that are a little bit harder on themselves when it comes to school and they feel like they have to get out of that room, I say, okay, if you're doing more than 4 hours a day, you're doing too much. Like, cut back, let's cut back. You should be able to enjoy life and do other fun things. So those are some thoughts to think about. So, okay. So I tell my kids, I'm like, you're gonna have to know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Teach it when they're ready. Don't worry about shoving math facts into them at, what is it, third grade they teach it? I think third grade, second grade, I don't even know when they start. But I think it's third grade. I'm just thinking it's third grade. You start when you can with your kids. If they can get them when they're young, awesome. If they can't, just wait. If you waited, if you can start young, great. Some kids just can't analytically think that because their brains aren't developed yet. Just give it time. Give them a year. Try it again. If it doesn't work, try it again the next year. They will eventually get it, I promise. My kids have learned so many different ways. So there's the way that we teach the math facts is you can do print-offs. These I have in my blog. This is just some that I printed off that we had to use. These are subtraction. There's different levels. There's adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. So we do time speed tests. Some of my kids do good this way. We have done where I got flashcards. These are like $2 a set for flashcards. Some like flashcards. That is another way they can teach it. And there's another way I had to look it up. It's extramath.org. They have an online where they give you, it's free. You can go in there for free and you can do your math facts. So my kids have done that, and it's good because when I had a lot of kids doing it, they have to log in every day, do their thing. You send to them the problems they have to do, and they'll make sure they test them every single day, and it's quick with the buttons. And then you get a report each week, or I don't know if it's every day, every week. I think it's each week. They send you a report of how they did. It shows you a calendar if they missed it or if they failed it. That worked for some of my kids, not everybody. So I always ask them, I didn't always because I didn't know, but as they get older, I'm like, which way do you learn best? Do you want cards? Do you want paper? Or do you want the extramath.com? So every child's different. So that is how we do our speed tests. I'm like, those are one of those things you just have to know. I'm like, as yucky as it is, as much as you hate multiplication facts, as much as I love math, but I have some kids that do not like it. So I always say, no matter what, you're gonna have to know how to do these. These are something you have to do. You don't have to know exactly the Pythagorean theorem. You don't have to know all the formulas, but you have to know how to do these in your head. That's part of life. So that's something we focus on and do in here. And for us, what we're doing this year is I'm doing my books, which I don't have the books, I just printed things off here. So what I did is I went out and got the grade levels for each of my children. I'm doing 3 of them that I have to do that are in elementary and middle school. And so I just printed off my pages here. I printed off on this wonderful printer right here that I got from Walmart for like $25. The ink cartridges, it wasn't 25, maybe it was 30. The ink cartridges are like $25. It does not even last. So that's okay. I needed one. So anyway, I know it's so crazy. So I just ordered the book. So that's what we're doing. So what we do is we do these that has counting out loud we got to do. It's got mental math, and it has a simple, you do 1 page a day. These are story problems. So they did story problems and then do them. And if they need more help with something, we do it. Like some struggle with the mental math out loud. And I said, no, you can't write on paper. You got to do it in your mind. And so I said, that's okay. Because every day you do some most of the days you do mental math. And so I'm like, so then they don't have to worry about it. So we are doing that for our math and our English. There's English. I think I only grabbed the math pages. Oh, here's English. Yep. So here's the English pages too. So, and they go through like here, this has a bunch of answers. If you want them to do all of it, go ahead. Sometimes we were doing, it was like a review and it had nouns. I mean, my kids know nouns. So I was like, all right, if you know them, do you have to fill in all the blanks? No, you don't have to fill in the blanks. That's how we do that. So that was simple and easy. So we do that, the math and the English. We do scripture. We started to do scripture together with everybody. So what I did is I went onto the website. There's lots of free online websites too. So Ambleside Online is another one. They have a lot of free things, I think they have the whole curriculum, correct? I'm pretty sure they do. You literally can click on a year and yeah, they go through everything. They give you the overview. I'm pretty sure. Yep, everything's free. I'm just looking at it. I'm pretty sure it was. It has copywork. They have a lot of stuff. They have Latin, musical instruments. They have so much stuff. So what I did, just for a easy thing to do, I could do whatever I wanted, and I have my own Bible. We've already gone through some of these things, so my kids are like, instead of repeating it, we're doing different. So this year I went on there and I found their list of scripture. There's so much scripture, but it's like you think, which ones do you have to know? So we just wrote out scripture. Each week we cover one of them, easy enough. So we had to learn the first one. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. So we learned that one scripture, easy. This is just the recommended list from them. Whatever you want, you can choose whatever you want, but I just didn't have to think about it because it was there. And then we also do a Bible story. So and they had a recommended list of Bible stories, which there's a ton of Bible stories. There's so many more I'm going to add. These were the ones that we went through. So as we did them, we checked them off. So just an easy way to do Bible with your kids. You can do bookwork. I think we did, last year we bought a curriculum and used it. And I can't think of the name of what it was, but it was good. But I thought in my head, I could probably teach them a little bit differently. So I decided not to do the curriculum book because of just talking to them about it in everyday life and like going to church, learning there, talking about situations. That's why I decided not to. Good things, great things, just different for our season in life. And then something else that I've learned are spelling. Now for my kids, some of them learn by just sight and spelling the words, and that's fine. I have my own spelling curriculum. You memorize the words and do it. Some kids learn great that way. I have some that did not. So I went back, I was thinking back to ones we used back in the day. And one of them was sequential spelling. I'm gonna put some pictures right here. Sequential spelling was something really good that we enjoyed using because it just built upon, it was very simple. The concept was after your child writes the word, correct them if they're wrong. Tell them, like, nope, gotta spell it this way, because every word built upon another word. So very simple. It would start with the word at. This is very basic. And then the next word would be bat, and the next word would be rat, and then it would be brat. And so it just built upon each one so they can understand the way that the words and letters correlate with each other. Now, I went to look for, if you haven't taught spelling, they had a sequential spelling for adults. I saw the book. It's like a used book, but that was a great review. So if you have high schoolers that struggle with spelling, it was a great book to go through. I wish I would have kept mine. I gave it away to a friend and they used it, and they said that was really helpful. The girl was older and she used it, and she's like, that was really helpful for me because I really struggled with my spelling. And so if you can find that one, I don't even know. There's a picture. Like I said, I tried looking for it and couldn't find it. So that's another thing. You have to pay for that one. Obviously, that's a paid for one. You need the teacher book and you need the kids workbook. Or you don't have to. You don't have to have the kids workbook. You can write it on paper if you want. So you don't need the kids workbook. What you can do is you can just get a notebook. You just get the teacher book. I think I'm going to say it's $15 for the teacher book, and then they can write the problems out on the paper. The workbook has them, gives you a place to write the spelling words, and then they give you an extra page to write sentences or something. I did buy those. In hindsight, what I would do is just use a notebook. It's cheaper, but that's okay. I didn't. Now when I rebuy it next year and get the next one, I won't be buying the workbooks because that would have saved me some money. It wasn't much, but a little bit extra saved. So that was one thing. And then I also did vocabulary. It's always something you can always add to. I tell my kids, one of them that really like to learn new words, I said, you can go sign up for a vocabulary word a day and they'll give you a word every day. And you can learn. It's just a great way to expand your knowledge of words. It's a good thing. Sometimes if you live in a certain area, you learn to speak and talk in that way. I do that all the time and people are like, you're saying it wrong, you're speaking wrong. And I said, well, that's how it was when I grew up. But vocabulary is more about learning more words about something. So we have, I do have some on my blog. There's lists that you can do. I've had kids go through those lists and go through them. So I just did something different this year because I had a couple younger ones. So I bought this. This is Scholastic Daily Word Ladders. It's grades 4 through 6. So it covers a little bit of variety of them. So this is literally, and they liked it. It was fun. It was literally start with one word. So for example, it starts out with the word penny. And then it says, the next clue is an instrument for writing. Take away 2 letters. So you take away 2 letters. What's an instrument for writing? Take away the N and the Y, a pen. And then it asks you for the next one. You keep building up. They liked this. They thought it was fun. So I started printing off the pages because it says you can reproduce, reproducible. You can use it. But my printer was too expensive. I think the book was like $9, so it's cheaper for me to buy the book. So I just bought an extra book to use. That worked out good for us. And then something else, I have some that struggle with penmanship and writing. Again, just different, have to, and that's okay. We have our own writing book. I have my own that my kids have done. They have already done through the book, so it's one of those like, I don't want to do it again. So I found this one, and it was the print handwriting book for teens. Great, because most of it's aimed towards younger kids, right? And so this was nice because it goes through and it has different quote things like happiness is a perfume you cannot pour on others without getting a few drops on yourself. So it's got just quotes, things like that. I think mine has a lot of scriptures in it. They just have written it. So this for us, we don't do a lot of writing. We don't. All right, we have math, we have English. Most of it's out loud. I don't have them do a lot of writing. So here I say, do one page, write a page, and it has to be good. That's how it works. And so they have these for teens, and they also have a cursive one for teens as well. We have that one as well. So this is good and just goes through and teach. I have a couple that want to do cursive, some that don't want to do cursive. And you know what? The beauty is whatever you want to learn in your life. And then we have also done this. I think I think every one of these kids have done this book before, Maths and Geography. It's a cheap book. You can get it. They love doing it. So I never did this one with Steven, so I got it up for him to do. So it's just simple. We do a couple pages a day. It goes through and teaches them how to read a map. Real simple. It goes through the states and it goes through the world as well. So this is something simple you can get on Amazon. I used to buy the comprehensive curriculum books as well. Those are okay, but the problem is they jump around so much in topics. What I would do is I'd get the year before. So if your kid's going into 5th grade, I would get a 4th grade comprehensive curriculum if you want extra pages to. So there were some times in my life where I was busy and I needed my kids to be busy. So instead of sitting on their devices or doing stuff, I'd say, here, do these pages. So I got the workbooks for the year earlier, and then they would sit and do it because it's like a review. It is a little bit more advanced than what we would do. So it would be learning as well and challenging. So those books are good as well. I think it's comprehensive curriculum books. And then the other thing we're going to do this year is the United States. I think everybody in elementary school, or if we miss it in elementary school, we do in the beginning of middle school. Just something we do so they cover all the states. So I have not done that at all with my younger 3. Autumn did it a few years ago. I think the older ones did. And so for them, I said, okay, let's do the 50 states. Now we've done it where you just got a notebook and we write everything on paper. Fine to do. I found Discover the 50 States of America. This was great to get. So in each book, what we do is we cover a state. We do 2 a week. So right now, I won't do their work, but they would choose like, here's Connecticut. So what we do is we go to, I think it's, what's the website? Homeschool Pop is one, and we watch a YouTube video on it. And then it tells us about the state, teaches us a little bit about it. And then I have them go, and I find like the food of that state. So like we did, let's see, Connecticut is going to be, I wrote down lobster roll, clam pizza. That was something big in the area. So I was going to make foods in that area, but I'm like, I don't think, like one was pulled pork for Alabama. I'm like, my kids don't like pulled pork, so I'm not going to make it. But we talk about the different foods for that area. Obviously, it's not for the whole state. And then we watch the video. Then they have to go do research on their own because they have tablets. They have laptops they can look on. And so they go and find and fill these in right here. This is kind of really neat color in the state. And then find an interesting fact on it. So just, it's teaching them to do things on their own. And then they're also loving learning it. I know the kids like this week, they're like, they were excited to teach it, but we got Florida on here too. So we're going to do the 50 states. We're going to do 2 a week. Otherwise, it's going to take us a whole year to go through. So, and then what I do for their pages, I just keep them in a nice little folder, my 15-cent folder, and everything's in here. But we're going to be having books, so I won't be needing this folder anymore. So that's what we're covering for my younger ones. We're doing Bible. We're doing the spelling, handwriting, math, English, maps, and geography. And then we're also doing like a read aloud book, and they have to read on their own. So I've got a bunch of books here that I ordered from my local library. And as we finish one, we get another one to read it. So right now we finished The Llama in a Family. That was more of a younger one, but still funny book. And then we're reading the Number of the Stars book right now. So we should finish that this week. And then they've got a book and they read a couple chapters each day. Simple and easy. And that's what we do that's the end of elementary school and middle school for my kids. And then I have one in high school. So high school comes along and I say, okay, what is it that you feel you're lacking in, and what is it you feel you need a review in? And so then we kind of go through the different things. So I know last year we did, this was one we did. This book was really good too for middle school. We got this one, the Big Fat Middle School Math Workbook. This was a really good book because it went through and it kind of covers everything you need to know for middle school math. They have one for math, English, history, and science. So these are really good because they just kind of review everything, and they're a little bit more fun than blank pages. Like my stuff you print off, it's like black and white. There's no fun frilly things, and it can get boring for a while for some kids. So some that like different things like, oh, here it is. They actually have math, they have algebra, geometry. They have a lot. So this book was good for them. So it's real simple though. Their lessons are literally like, here's one. And then it goes through and then it gives you a couple pages to practice on. And that's it. So it's just real simple, short lessons. But this was I always recommend middle school. When someone says, what can you do for middle school? Right here, Big Fat Middle School Math Workbook. It has a lot of good things. We've done this before. So we kind of focus on that for middle school to make sure that they know everything. And then we go through and do, if they haven't done the states, we do the states. And then they want to do American history. And I have an American history on my website. I don't have it this year because the kids, they've already done it, but it's the America, the Story of Us, the DVD series, and it's based off of that. So there is printable things if you want, but it also has books to read. So you'll watch video of that time period, and then you can read a couple other books that go with it, and there's other documentaries to go through. That's a lot more time, and if they love history, that's a great thing to do. So we have done that before as well for American history. I have nothing for world history. I just don't, but that's something we do. We also, I'm looking here. We also take, another thing recommended to do is get old textbooks. If you're not good in history, you're not good in science. I'm not good in science. History I don't love, but I like watching documentaries that people that like updated history of things you don't always know. So that's why we like the America, the Story of Us, and then reading the books. But for science, I am not, like I've done it. I took biology, I took chemistry. I just don't love it. I've never retained anything from it. So what I would recommend doing is getting, these books are from, I think it's Abeka ones. It's an old textbook. Let's see the year. The year is probably 1994. Yeah, when I graduated. Science pretty much stays the same. They do upgrade in some things, but get the Abeka, get a textbook. There might be some writing in it. You can get used ones on Amazon. But what it does is the Abeka books are good for, you get different grade levels. We have 7th and 8th. I think we have 6th too. I don't know why it's not over here. But that is, they just go through different topics and things that like I would not teach because I just don't know all those things. And then we do a lot of like, Greg is really good for hands-on and teaching them things. And that's what's awesome. So, but for ones that enjoy reading it, they love reading these ones. So these I'd recommend, go get yourself an Abeka textbook. Don't get it for math, don't get it for English. It's be a whole lot of nonsense. Just do like your science, even your history, because I do have a lot of history, Christian history in here, but you can get books the same thing too. But it's a good way to teach it without having to go so much in if you don't know a lot about it. So we'll get those are another way to do it. We also do a health and make sure that they know we pretty much live life. So they're pretty basics, but I have them always do, there's like, I keep the 5th grade. So Enjoying Good Health, everybody else goes through this book, so you can kind of know about different systems. So that's one, and then we'll go in more in depth. And then I always keep a high school course. This is Abeka as well, Health and Christian Perspective. And then go learn some, I mean, there's so many things now where you learn so much more online. So this, I always feel like get one in in middle school at the end of elementary, and get one, make sure they know in high school. So those are all good things we do. I also have a Dave Ramsey book that we do when they're in high school and they're ready to like real life, like here I've got the course. let's do real life math. But they know about real life because we talk about real life every single day and all those things and how to do those things. So those are, look at anything else. Something else is for math for high school, like the Dummy series. I know that doesn't sound good, but they have basic math and pre-algebra right here. These are good books because they're basic. And they just go through. You can get one of these on Amazon for not too expensive. And then they go through and teach the basic things. You can just find basic math. Give your high school a review of the basic math, and then go on and find real life math, like consumer math. That's another way. I think Becca had a book, Consumer Mathematics. I don't have it anymore, but I always tried looking for it. But Google that. Look for those kind of books. Those are the real life hands-on things that your kids are going to need to know. You can study algebra, you can study all those things and do it, but you know what? Most kids that graduate high school don't even know how to write a check. They don't even know how to manage their money. They don't even know about credit card debt. They don't know about any of that stuff and how it works. So teach them the real life stuff, because that's what they're going to need to know how to use. So those are some fun things to be able to use. I'm looking at anything else. And then if you can do extra things, that's awesome. If you can't, that's okay. Like I bought sand sifters for our Venice shark tooth hunting trip. We're going to sift through the sand and get those. There was also a recipe for some slime that we were going to make. So I've got that right here to make some fun slime. So I got the stuff for that. I planned that out for the month. Try to think of different theme things to do for your family. Like ours was going to be the pool party theme. So we're going to have a whole big pool party day. We have different games, we have different activities. And so base it around that, just having them look forward to something fun to do. And then some people write and they say, I work and can I homeschool too? Or I'm a single mom, can I homeschool too? Yes, you can do those. Don't think just because you're working outside the home or you're a single mom that you can't homeschool. You can homeschool. You got to get yourself a little bit organized so that you can do it. It's like, it shouldn't take very many hours a day. I know for myself, I'm filming, I'm running the household with all the kids. So for me, I set aside a few hours a day. It's like, that's all I do during those few hours, no matter what, is I get school done. And then I make sure I get my other work done during the morning. And then the afternoon, I can finish up my work as well. So just kind of get a schedule going. That'll be a huge helper. Homeschooling too, is the same thing. If your kids know that every day at 10:30, you're going to have your read aloud time, then they have to be ready by 10:30, or there's a consequence to it. They'll get up and do it for those things. Have a schedule for cleaning. I don't even have a cleaning schedule yet in my house here, because I don't really know how our schedule is for working and cleaning. So I usually just write every day the jobs that I have. But getting a cleaning schedule for your home is huge to be able to do. I got a couple of videos on it. Very easy way to do it, but it just takes time to sit down and figure out what you have. And same thing with meals. Get yourself a crock pot and learn some easy crock pot meals. So I have used so many things. I've done freezer meals, and that helps as well too. I did a lot of freezer meals before, and that helped me during the early school times because life was busy. So here I found that I'm not doing many freezer meals, but I am just doing crock pot meals. It helps just to be able to throw things in there and just heat up for the day. So I showed you the clip here of us. This was just this weekend. We didn't have school on this day, but it was just nice to be able to put things in here and heat it up and not think about it. It's already done, ready to roll. So think of easy things like that just to help the day go much smoother. Another thing I thought about, people always ask, well, how do you do your transcripts? Great question, because I've had a few that are going on to college. Not all my kids go to college, but some want to. So if you homeschool or unschool, how do you get a transcript? How do you do for math? How do you do math for a whole year when you don't even do math? Type in unschooler transcript for high school. They'll give you tons of ideas of how people will do, like your Bible. If your kid's not doing a Bible all day long, well, do they go to church? Do they spend time in devotions? Do they volunteer at church? You can put that all under your Bible as things that you're teaching your kids. So there's so many different things you can add to them. I started doing one of my childs that was going to college, and I was like, wow, you have way too many credits because you do way too much stuff. So I had to take a few off there. So there's so many ways of doing the transcript where you don't need like a specific, like they took all this class, worked every single day, the hours. It's like very easy and lapse. Be way less on things than you think you have to be. It's like, don't get so stressed and worried. If you're stressing about things, stop what you're doing something wrong, and make it easier for you. So are you feeling confident like you can do this? You can. I believe you can. Just like let out the whole thoughts of like how you have to do things and get into this totally new mindset of like, yeah, this is the way I can do this. I can do this. God has given you those children for you to teach and learn at the way that they have, the way that they are, the way that their minds are created to be. And not everybody's going to be the same. Trust me, not everybody's the same. Every kid is different. Every kid learns differently. And if you just kind of tune into how they learn, you'd be amazed at how they do. Trust me, and don't get frustrated. I've had some kids that did not want to do school at all, had a little bit delay in their schooling, and I was like, okay, I'll just go with it because this is when I was learning about it. And guess what? They played video games and they would ask me every single time, how do you spell this, Mom? How do you read this, Mom? And I'd read it to them. And you know what? They learned to read and they learned how to spell through playing those video games and reading it. And you know, that child, I never once taught my child a phonics lesson, never once did a spelling lesson with that child ever at all. And you know what that child grew up to be? Probably my best reader, probably my best speller in schooling, because they just learned how they naturally do. So just do how your child does. Don't stress over it. See how they do. If you're active in their life, you're seeing how they're doing. Even if you got a season in your life where you can't be active and they are on screen time a whole lot, give yourself some grace, because you know what? The next season they won't be on it so much. You just get in there and teach them some things. You get them to think about things a little bit, explore things, go help them, let them cook with you, let them clean their room, let them design certain things, help them to, you know, teach them how to go out in the world and talk about current events, talk about the things going on and how wrong things are, and show the injustices, show how people rule over people and how that happens, how it affects. Show them a plethora of people in different situations so they can know to always question things, to always look at things and go, okay, let's look at it objectively from both sides. So it makes them a great person in this world. Okay, awesome. Hopefully, if you have any other questions, leave them below and I'll either try to answer them or I'll do another video if there is enough on that. So let's get downstairs. I gotta start my day. Let's go start our Monday. So that's the time to get moving so we can start our homeschool day. Let's go. Coffee. Okay, so we're out and about.
We are for a Monday morning.
Monday morning. Did all my well, I didn't do anything at home at all, but I did what I wanted to do with you guys. And
at all?
I didn't get anything. I threw the dishes in the dishwasher, started a little
laundry,
back in the floor,
yeah, nothing
picked up
at all.
the bathroom, started our bathroom, and then we're heading out. But I didn't really do anything.
You're like the army, baby. You do more before 5 o'clock than
anybody else, but I didn't. So I'll get back. We'll finish up the day, but we are out because it is hurricane preparedness.
Yes, it is. You have to be, sort of.
You have to be. So we are, like, everybody's sending prayers. Thank you for all that stuff. We are like,
and we are sending them back out to others in the area. And,
oh, there it is.
How weird was that?
There it is. Emergency alert. Oh, see, look at that. Well, that's crazy.
I know, your phone and mine at the same time.
Have food, water, cash, fuel, and medication.
Weather Service.
Oh, it's talking.
Warning is in effect for this area for dangerous and damaging winds. This warning is issued up to 36 hours before hazardous conditions begin. Urgently complete efforts to protect life and property. Have food, water, cash, fuel, and medications for 3+ days. Follow instructions from local officials.
Okay. Well, look at that.
Wow, crazy.
Well,
yeah, it's good that they get. It's exciting that
they notify you
after what just happened with some fires and
things. Oh my goodness, terrible. So
warnings.
Yeah, so we've got food. I got ramen. I got
lots of
cheese.
Water.
We got lots of water, and we have our refrigerator and freezers, and we have a generator. So we just had to order a cord for it, so it can be long, but we can use it if it doesn't get here beforehand.
Oh yeah.
And then what else? So we're now on the hunt for some gas because we don't have any gas. So anyway, so wait, keep talking, babe.
Oh,
so then
I didn't know.
Honey, keep talking. So what else do we got? So we got to go get gas.
What if I don't want to keep talking?
You keep talking. You always like to talk. So we have to go get, our generator runs on propane, gas.
Yeah, it's like a dual fuel thing. So we've got a like a big propane tank in the yard and a small one, like a grill size one, a 20-pounder, or whatever they call that thing. But it makes more power for longer on gas.
Yes.
So the generator's something that we're gonna like lay in a pad for. You know, we're gonna anchor it down and all that kind of good stuff and build a house around it. Sure. Yada yada yada. It's like a big project that we got coming, but we're not ready for that just quite yet. Right. We're still doing other things in the yard, so yeah, we're just gonna we're gonna get used gas this time around. So we're gonna go get 2 gas cans, hopefully they sell them, and then fill up a gas. I think it runs for like 10 hours on a tank. Yeah, that'd be like 50% load. Yeah, so and our house is already pre-wired for the generator. Yeah. So it's got like a breakout box with you know, they fused it incorrectly and they have the transfer switch and all that kind of stuff. So we're calculating if we got a couple cans of gas and how much could we run? We won't run the thing non-stop. You know, it's like we'll cool the house down, a couple rooms down or whatever, and I think the refrigerators will stay alive, and the kitchen's up. The back, basically the 2 areas, the butlers and the main kitchen is up, and then the garage where the freezers are. Yep. So we should be good. We should be okay. We should be good. Yeah, we won't run it like non-stop. And then we have the small AC
Yeah,
you know,
the garage we can take and that's what we use for our house.
See, there's a lot. There's actually a lot involved to try to get your house up on a generator, and the AC is one of those things. And they have like a soft start that you can add to your air conditioner, and you know, instead of that shocking load of your AC, when it starts, the soft start will ramp it up slowly over time, so you can run your AC on your house generator as well, you know, without such a big deal. But these are, you know, this is like a $500 switch. So all these things we kind of have to do in stages and stuff.
Sure.
But,
so it's like our trial run right now.
Yeah, trial run, and we do have we got an air conditioner that we can use. So
so we'll be good. And we're just gonna fill up my car, Scott. I have like a quarter tank of gas. So we're gonna get gas. So we have that, and we got our pool to swim in. So I think we're gonna be good. So it shows, I think Tuesday to Wednesday coming through. So we're not in the direct path. We're right a little bit below it. So we should just get the rain. So I'm like, we've lived through rains in the mountains, so we got this. I'm like, this is nothing.
And we've lived through some crazy winds up there,
yeah, in the mountains. So this should be.
We've had 70, 80 mile gusts in the mountains.
Yeah, and we don't really have. There's really no trees by us.
Michigan,
behind us.
Tornadoes were setting down.
Yeah, so we should be. And we gotta do. So we have to do things like deflate our floaties. Like the wow's got deflated. So we're gonna do that. Get our chairs all stacked up and kind of pick up the yard a little bit so nothing blows. But we should be good. So it's what we're gonna do today. So we're gonna go get some gas cans. Hopefully, we're gonna go to Walmart and see if people get things like bread and milk like they did in the mountains. See if there's any gas cans.
All right.
You ready? Let's go. We just watched a car and it had a gas can in the trunk. And
I was like, don't put the mojo on our trip. Look at it, it's all dudes getting out.
It's all dudes going to try to find trash.
Like you can see the look on their face. So it's like, I need gas cans.
I need gas cans. We're just gonna go Lowe's because we're right here. It's like real quick. I'm sure it'll be more money, but look at right there in his back of his truck is a gas can, babe. I was not a Christian.
I was gonna say,
probably take that, but
if I was him, I'd tie that thing
I know.
down.
We're gonna go see if we can find one. Look at that. It looks like a storm already. I mean, this isn't. We're supposed to have stormy for a couple days.
Yeah,
so.
cumulonimbus is on the way.
On the way.
Like this is Jingle All the Way.
Oh yeah.
When they're trying to find his president.
Turbo Man.
He goes into the store and asks for the Turbo Man towel.
That's right.
And everybody starts laughing at him.
They'll be like, "Are you serious? We're really gonna
You didn't get your Turbo Man a month ago."
Oh, exit going next time.
I guess we're going in through the outdoor.
We're gonna go into the outdoor. I saw one in the hold section. Let's go see.
Let's go offer him $50 for it.
$50 for it. Ooh, candles. Fall candles. Yankee candle, delicious. There, the gas can. There's another one with the gas can.
We just lost out on.
Where's the gas can? Right here, babe.
What?
Right here.
Probably an hour.
They 5 gallon?
Yeah, but I don't know the price.
Okay.
Premium at the Circle K. Across the street at Marathon, they still had everything. And they have propane there. We're out of propane too.
You're out of propane too. So fun. Awesome.
We still have toilet paper.
Hey, yay, that's all good. Thank you.
Just two or?
All right, we got 2. They said they were out of generators. Somebody got a generator there? Yeah. Perfect. Okay, we got us a gas can.
We got 2.5.
We got 2. Yeah, we got 2.5. All right, mad rush at the Lowe's.
Okay. So Florida is prepared.
They got their stuff.
They literally just had
a new cart put out there.
Yeah, like
they said
3 pallets full of gas cans, and then they said there's another one on the way.
Coming. So real nice. He's like, yeah, we got toilet paper. So he's just telling us the gas stations. We're more like city right here. He said one ran out, or it's out of, it just has premium. The other one has. So we're gonna see if we had some gas right now. Okay, we found a gas place. Our little, where we were at, there was no gas by the Lowe's. Everything was getting like taken out. So we went by ours, by our house. Figured it's kind of middle of nowhere. Thought that might be more, and that was emptying completely out. So now we went into town here, and then this has still got gas, so we're gonna fill up with some gas. All right, we got gas. We filled up our gas tank and fill up our gas cans. So we are ready for our generator. So definitely fill those up before the day before the storm. But it's one of those things. We knew we had propane at home, but I thought let's just get a couple gas so we have them just in case. You never know. I'm sure we'll be fine. We're not. We just watched Ryan Hall, y'all. He has good updates on the. What's the door making noise? He has good updates for weather, and so he, it's going to be storming. We're like south of Tampa, so we're more, I think it's Tampa and above it's going to get hit. We'll get rain and all that, so if there is a power outage, at least we'll be safe, but we shouldn't have too long of a time it's out for, so I think that we should be good. So, sweet little baby's getting their gas. All good, so we're going to be done. There you go, babe. Feel better?
Huh?
Feel better?
We're telling everybody I was just crying.
No. All right, we got gas.
They limited it at 100.
Okay.
Yep, which is awesome. That's why they still have gas here.
That's good. Home real quick. I'm just gonna get a snack because starving. Little plate of munchies with everybody. We're gonna eat real quick. They're grabbing little things, and then we'll keep continuing on. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to try to gather up things that we have in the refrigerator to use up so that nothing's going to waste. Over the next couple of days we do have a generator, so I'm not worried too much about my refrigerator, freezer stuff going bad, but good to use up some things. Kids will be excited if we lose power because then we can have ramen. They'll be like, just shut the power off, Mom. We'll have ramen just because it'll be easy. I've got a new slow cooker. I have two. I have the one from Miss Barbara, which is great. It's a little bit smaller. I got a little bit bigger one here. So I'm going to make a baked mac and cheese without having to bake it. It's going to be the key. So I'm just going to spray my inside so it doesn't stick on the sides. You could do your little cover, like a bag and stuff, but I'm not going to. So I guess I'll just put my pasta. I cooked some pasta. So we're going to put that in here because I'm going to leave this in here for the day. I'm gathering fragments. I think this will probably be enough cheese right there. I'm just looking, that's a lot of cheese. There, we had a little bit left over of cream cheese. This is a good way to make mac and cheese. And then we have nacho cheese from our tacos. I told you we would use all that up. So, let me get this here and put it in here. And that will help make, I even have Alfredo sauce. But I might put that in here, but this might be creamy enough. I think it's gonna be creamy enough. This kind of uses up the stuff. I'll make a mac and cheese for Jensen that he can have. Let me get some milk out. I'm using the lactate milk, not specifically because, it's not because I need to make this lactose free, because it's not, but I only have a little bit of regular milk for some reason. They drank that whole entire jug. I was like, so I'll use this up because I have a lot of this. I'll use this right here. So let me this might be enough stuff right in there. I was gonna add, I had a little bit of this, but I don't even think I need to because I feel like that's creamy. So I'm gonna add some salt and pepper to this mixture. And then I'll just kind of heat it up on low. Let's see, select. And then do a couple hours here. This should be good. If it gets like where it's absorbing all the liquid, then you want to add more milk, but this should be good. You know, a little trick, add some chicken bouillon to it, just a little bit, just like a tablespoon. Makes it delicious. So good creamy mac and cheese. I'm thinking I added that little bit of cream cheese in there. That should help it. So I'm just gonna let this sit, and this will be done. I'm gonna be using up things. So I have in my freezer chicken nuggets right here. So I'm gonna use these, put these in the air fryer so I have to heat up the oven. And then this right here, perfect, easy day for dinner. Just gather up fragments. We have all that sweet and sour sauce, so I figured I'd use this. I think I got some watermelon to eat up, so it'll be great. So we're gonna finish our cleanup of the house. I won't show any of that. We're literally gonna wash dishes, put them away. We haven't done any chores because I've been gone. Get everything done. Greg's outside, gonna kind of pick up the yard, all the stuff out there, and then we will get out there, deflate the floaties, and get our chairs and stuff stacked, and all the fun things to be able to do to prepare, get prepared. So I'll get things, and this is already cooking, so I don't have to worry about it. I got another pot for Jensen's mac and cheese. I'm gonna make that real quick. Can I turn it on? I'll wait. I was like, did I turn that on? No, I'm not gonna turn his on. I'll wait to turn his on until it's getting closer, because we'll cook that with the chicken nuggets for dinner. And awesome, awesome day. So the kids are in the house, they're doing chores, getting things done. I said, today's hurricane preparedness day. So that means that we do school 4 days a week. So usually it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This week we'll do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So more likely we'll be inside and it'll be raining, so it'll be a good time to do that. So today we're gonna focus on other things. So one of the things I'm gonna do is my freezer and refrigerators. We do have generators for these, but the least you have to open something, the better. So I'm gonna take out a couple meals that we can cook with our propane, with, you know, fire, we can do the pizza oven, whatever. So I'm gonna take out like hamburgers, I think, and hamburger buns. Move these to the inside refrigerator, freezer. These ones I'll keep as shut as possible. I have a bunch of milk in here and stuff, so that's my, I guess, as long as it's closed. So I just wanna organize it better. We have ice cream. Ice cream, if it's on the door, it's gonna get warmer faster, so I'm gonna put it more towards the back. So I'm gonna do a little bit of organizing of the freezers here. Okay, remember I had these? I forgot I had these out here. I'm gonna take these. And then what I did down here is I took one of our waters that we have up here. I stuck one in there. So this will freeze solid help keep this cool in the event that the power goes out for an extended period of time. We should be fine. But let's say it goes out for like 2 weeks or a week and a half and we don't have enough gas. That will help it a little bit longer. Shoved everything up here as best as I could. That's a good thing. So I think we're good here. I will have to go see what I got. Let me go see what I got in the house to know. Let me think here. I think that like I got wontons, because wontons you can fry up and use those with the ramen. That'll be really good. I got hamburgers. Kielbasa, I was gonna do kielbasa tomorrow with, and I think over here, what do I got in here? I do have all of our milk and coffee creamer. So, is that it? What's back there? Another cup. Okay, so this stuff is lunch meat, some eggs. I'll probably go replenish stuff in the refrigerator, and then that way this doesn't have to be cooled. Like, we can still use it, I'll keep it on, but if power goes out, I would just unplug this and not use that. So let me, because it's just milk, I literally go put this in the kitchen. Let me go do that. Let me take my load of stuff in the house here, and I'll come back and get this. Perfect, okay, good. So it's just right here, this can be plugged in, it's gonna be great. So what I'm gonna do is turn up my setting to the coldest so it gets really, really frozen and good. I'm gonna take this out. I think this is my last garbage bag snack mix. We used a lot, it's not half granola, that'll be okay here. Right here is where we need it. This I'll keep shut so that the next day the freezer can freeze all that water bottle. This one is on, but it's empty. I have potatoes. Let me see if there's anything else. There's water in the bottom, 2 cans of Coke, and some potatoes. I need to take a couple small ones here. I'm gonna do a recipe. Well, I could just leave these out here, can't I? I can just leave these. I will make a couple of recipes tomorrow with this. So, is that good? Okay. So this is on for now, but if we need to unplug that, we will. So let's go inside and put that stuff in the refrigerator. So I think I am good for my refrigerators. The only thing I grabbed out was I had a pizza sauce and 1 banana. I'm gonna go put that in the freezer. And I found 1 more cheese. I thought I had just a tiny little bit of cheese. I'm gonna put that right in here because I'm gathering up the fries, throw that on there. It'll make its way in there. So this is good. Perfect. I'm gonna take these out so we can eat those today. Just put them out so they can be refrigerated because they like those. So our freezers, I feel like, are pretty good. Okay, so they're outside there. They're gonna take the wow and all the floaties and then deflate all of them. So everything is deflated and void of something to fly around the house. Okay, I'm not doing any of this film. The kids are like, oh, it's preparing. I'm like, I know. So outside, the boys got the floaties all deflated. We put them on the side of the house. Now we're taking all of the chairs and stacking them, and then we're gonna lay them flat up against the fence because they're not gonna go anywhere. And the tables, we're gonna flip upside down, and we have like a bunch of bricks put on top of that. I'm gonna cover my smoker, pizza oven, and our like slushy and popcorn machine here too. We're gonna do that, but I'm not showing you that because we're just working out there together, getting it done. So what we did is we came out here and we covered all of our stuff. So we've got our smoker and the grill and our table here all covered, brought this up here. So everything's covered and secured. What we did down here is put our floaties. We deflated them and they're down there over the pool cover. And then we put our chairs, stacked them and put up against the thing. I know people said you can put them in your pool. I don't know, will those blow right there? I don't know, I'm hopeful. I feel like that's heavy enough, it won't. All our chairs upside down, and then some bricks on top. So we'll see how that does. Like an empty deck up here again. And then over there, we put the tables upside down with some bricks on top. So I think we're gonna be good to go. Greg's over here, finishing up before the storm comes.
Yep, I just got this corner, and that corner over there.
To do?
Yeah, and then I'm gonna grout it real quick before everything gets here.
Yes, because it's coming. It was just a minute ago, it was like really dark, and I was like,
hurricane.
I was like, so nice. It's so weird because it's not gonna rain that much tonight.
Yeah.
But it is a little windy, so awesome.
Thank you for getting everything
we got it. Well, the kids did. They did good picking everything up. So we'll see if the wind blows those over. I don't know. You let me know.
We got them bricked down with weight.
Yes,
And
it
then-
should be good.
Yeah, before it comes rolling through, I'll weight them down even more.
There you
I'll
go.
stack a ton of weight on it.
I love it.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna have to get a couple chairs or something, and maybe
Cover.
like 3 chairs, and make a tent
Tarp.
for for the generator.
That's a good thing.
I have bug spray or sunscreen I could use.
Yes.
Oh, later, honey.
Kids are going in. Yes.
Later we'll have to drag the generator out and make sure it starts
It's
up.
all working. I love it.
Okay.
All right, kids are in the pool swimming because it's hot. So what we did is when I was cleaning out my freezer, I got these out. Remember? They're kind of like this one. They were a little overflow. Don't overfill your jars. These are really, really good. The only person I didn't like is Jensen because he doesn't like watermelon. But I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Really, really good. So I've got a couple more in the refrigerator here of the jars. I put the plastic in the drawer, and then the pickles were so good. This was the winner. Everybody loves them. Greg's like, those are my favorite. Jensen's like, those are my favorite. So these are the winter pickle recipes. So I'm gonna definitely have to go back and watch that video so I remember how to make it for next time. I'll probably do some more because we have more cucumbers in there. So what else? So my house, all the chores are done. The only thing to do is, I've got laundry. We're doing laundry. So I've got laundry in. So I think I've got, do I have boys' clothes over there for them to put away? The boys are gonna do the room they didn't do yet. I pulled this out and this out because it has to get chopped up. If I do that today, awesome. If I do it tomorrow, it doesn't matter. So those are the only 2 things to do. My mac and cheese is good and done. We'll do chicken nuggets here in a little bit. So it's like a good day. It's like a great day. The kids are gonna swim for a while because they're hot. And then I told them, well, then you come in and then we'll sit and do school. So we'll take a couple, that's the beauty of school. It's like, I was thinking in my head, so this was my plan. I got up and was filming for you guys, talking about things. And then by the time I got down here, I was talking to Greg. We ran to the store. So by the time I get back, I was like, you know what, instead of stressing, because I knew we had to get stuff together and picked up for the hurricane preparedness, I decided, you know what, let's skip school. So I wouldn't even think to. So that's why you're nice, give yourself that window of like, not every day. So like I would only do 4 days. So now in my head, I thought I could just do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and that'll work out that way. But we're actually gonna have plenty of time today. So we're gonna do some tonight because we can just do it. Usually I like to be finished because we'll have the rest of the night, but we're gonna pretty much be home. We're not gonna go anywhere or do anything. Jaden went and picked up Brooklyn for us, so we don't have to go out. So I'm like, let's the kids swim for a little bit. They'll come in, we'll sit down and do all of our schoolwork together. And that'll be a nice end to our evening. That, and I'll just have to edit. Dinner is easy and done. And then we'll do, I'll go out and swim tonight while it's nice because tomorrow will be the bad day. Tomorrow will be the rain day. So we'll get to see some rain, what it's like up close. So I don't know. I said I've never lived through a hurricane, but I've had rain from the hurricanes up in the mountains. So, and the wind blows like crazy. So it'll be interesting to see what it does here. So I don't know. We get lots of messages, lots of, like warnings, which is good. It's like my phone, our HOA president sent us, or not president, the owner of our HOA, they sent an email out, let everybody know. They sent out a text message, let everybody know, told us, we're not gonna do trash pickup and just different things to like let you know stuff's coming. And then we got that message on our phone. So I'm like, that's good. Lots of good warnings to be prepared, don't stress out, which there's no stressing. There's like, if we were on the coast, right on the coast, yeah, I'd be a little more concerned, but we're not at all. So we're just not in our little area. We were looking at different hurricanes that have come through. All the ones they've recorded in our area, there's never been anything that's come up in our area. It's like there's a little pocketed area of Florida on both sides that no hurricanes go through. So they don't know why. We were watching another weather person and he was saying that little areas, like for some reason, nothing even comes through there. So it never has. So I don't know if it's because of the way the ocean is, the way the land is, who knows what it is. So we're fortunate we're in an area where we shouldn't see anything. I said, the kids said, maybe flooding. I said, well, in reality, I said, look behind us. There's a building behind us. I said, look how low it is to the ground with us. I said, we're way higher than that is. I said, all that water is gonna have to rise up that high and then come our way. And that's pretty high. We're I think we're 150 feet above sea level, which I think we were 2,600 in the mountains. So we're not flat, we're not low, we're not below, we're up. So we should be good. I think the only thing we didn't know was to keep our pool pump on. Someone said, I think Brooklyn's boss had said, if you guys got a pool, keep a pool pump on because we have a backflow, is that what it's called? Where if it fills up too full, it'll shoot out the water. I think that's what it is. So we have that. We have it on our pool pump. The pool pump, the power goes out. We have we have a way we can siphon it out and get the water up to go lower behind us because we have low ground back there. So always we're gonna be just fine. I got Maxine's water and food. We got emergency water. She got a bath today. So I'm like, okay, we'll be ready. I'll get up tomorrow and make food early so that it's done, put it in the crock pot just to be prepared. I'll do kielbasa, potatoes, and green beans, easy. So it's done. And that way we have food, we don't have to worry about it. And then we can kind of, like, the kids will love ramen. They'll love the little dumplings. We can have those for Wednesday when it's coming through. So just different things to make my life easier. But if all the laundry's done, if the house is clean, then it's not so bad. And I even told the kids, I said, make sure you get everything picked up, your rooms. You know, it's my like get your rooms done because you don't want to be trampling and touching things and falling in the dark. So, you know, because they can't use their flashlights on their devices. So just getting those things done, which is a good thing. Kind of the same preparations we'd have in the mountains. Just make sure you got all those things. Normally, I'd say fill up my tubs in that, but we have a whole entire pool. So I'm really not too worried about filling tubs up. I could. It's just more money. We pay for our water. I know it would be pennies, but like mountains, we had a well. We really didn't pay for that at all. It just came out of the ground. But here we're gonna pay for our water. So I'm like, we don't really need to fill up our tubs. We can literally go out to the pool and scoop out a bucket of water and dump it. We do have a bucket. Thank goodness Greg was in the garage. He's like, ooh, forgot we had buckets. I'm like, oh, we do have a bucket. So bucket if we have to dump the pool water to flush the toilets. And that'll be it. We, you know, if we had to boil some for a bath, we could do that too. But I was like, jump in the pool, kids. Is what I'm gonna say. Go get your bath in the pool tonight. Come out and take your hair and scrub it. We'll rinse it with salt water. It'll be like at the ocean. Gotta do what you gotta do, people. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go upstairs, pull footage off here because the kids are swimming, just so I can start getting my stuff ready to go, and then I'll edit, and then I'll come back and do school. Great Monday. Great Monday. So, all right, I'll see you in a minute. Wait, hold on. Okay, it wasn't supposed to rain, but it started raining. How do you feel about that, babe?
I was one corner away from being done.
Oh, kids like run through the rain. They're like, yay, we can be in the rain. Hold on. All right, first hurricane rain. Child's running through it. All right, so what happened to my day? Got real busy there. Did most of my filming stuff earlier, and then I had doing a phone call, talking to some family and getting that in. And then it was like, okay, I'm like, it's dinner time. So I cooked the chicken nuggets and then just pulled it out for the kids to eat. And I'm like, I'm not even filming what we're doing. So I edited part of today's video. There was a lot of footage. I was like, it was about a good hour just for the talking the homeschooling. So I don't know, I guess I could have done 2 videos, but hopefully you just fast forwarded through all that if you didn't want to hear that part. So it's been a good day. It's been a great day. We're ready. Everybody's here, and which is rare. We haven't all been home at the same time. So we're all downstairs. We're watching a movie, eating dinner, and then it stopped raining. It's not raining anymore. So the weather is good right now, but we will, we'll see what their next couple days bring us. You know, the girls have to go out. They still have to work tomorrow. So I don't think we're gonna have to worry too much about it until like Wednesday or like Tuesday night. So I think we'll be good, but we're ready. We're prepared and ready. So we didn't get to any school. That was something I was gonna do and we did not do. That's okay. That's the beauty of it. We can do that tomorrow. So I went to go down and started doing with the kids, and I was like, you know what? Let's just wait till tomorrow. We'll be home. We might as well. We can get a whole lot more done. So that is what we're going to focus on tomorrow. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Lots of chit chat and lots of stuff going on. Come back tomorrow and see how we hunker down and ride out this hurricane. I don't know. I mean, we're not going to have to ride it out. It's going to literally rain. That's all it's going to do. So come back and see how that. We'll share what it's doing here in our little tiny corner of Florida. So, all right, you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you again tomorrow with another video. Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye.